Hi, so something I've enjoyed making as long as I've had an electronic cutting machine are shaped cards. If you go to my blog, which is here, and in the search box, if you type shaped cards, it will bring up some of the cards that I've posted with various videos over the last so many years. This section of cards here, a lot of these were made many years ago, and now we've got the Brother font converter. I thought I'd show you how to use the font converter and make some different shaped cards. I've done previous videos on making number shaped cards, and I think I've even done videos making shaped cards using letters instead of numbers. But today I thought I'd show you how to recreate something like this for anybody in your life that loves shoes. So I'm going to come back to ScanNCut Canvas and from the beginning how to recreate this card. But first of all, you need to get that shoe shape, which is actually a Dingbat font. And again, I've done videos on using Dingbat fonts recently. You can get your fonts from any site that you like, but my preferred site for fonts is this site here, dafont.com. So this is my preferred site, but you can use whichever site you want. And on this site, all the fonts are categorized. So you've got like fancy fonts, techno fonts, gothic, basic, script, that kind of thing. And there's a section on dingbats, and you can click on here, and I'll just click on animals, and these are all the fonts that are available in animal shapes. And as you can see, there are pages and pages and pages of them. Now the one I want is a shoe font. So in this search box here, I'm going to type shoe and search, and it'll bring me up any font that's got the word shoe within its title. So I'm just going to scroll down and hopefully find this font, and it's here. It's called WC Fetish BTA, and that's the font. So I would click download, which I've already done, so I'm going to show you, but that would just drop into my downloads folder. So I'm going to close that one down now, and then here's the folder that was in my downloads folder. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to double click to open it, and inside that folder you'll see there are 4 images here. There's the WC Fetish BTA True Type font, then there's another one that's OTF, which is Open Type font, and then there's another one with the name of True Type font on the end. And I'm just going to double click and open this one and this one, because these both have True Type font at the end of them. So if you look at these two carefully, you will see that some of the shoes don't appear in both sections. So this one here looks like a little ankle boot, but then in here it doesn't appear to be in this one. So the shoe I want, and you can install both of these on your computer. I've only installed one of them, this one on the right, because the shoe that I want to use is, I think, this one here. So I'm going to close this one down and close this one down for now. So it's this one, the one that's WC _ Fetish _ BTA True Type font. That's the one I installed. So now, and I'm just going to go back to my font viewer on my Mac and find this WC Fetish, and this is the shoe I want, and if I hover over it, it tells me it's a small letter T. Don't know if you can see that appearing there. So recreate that shoe, I need to type the letter T into the font converter. So I'm going to open the Brother ScanNCut font converter. I'm going to type a lowercase letter T, and then I'm going to come down here and scroll down and find that font Dingbat, or Dingbat font, that I've installed. And there it is, WC Fetish. I'm just going to leave the size on 72 for now, and I'm going to say save, and I'm going to put it on my desktop. I'm just going to leave the generic name for now because it's the only one that will be on my desktop, so I'll be able to find it easily. I'm going to close the converter down. I'm going to come to the SVG icon within Canvas, go to my desktop, find that file, choose it and say OK. And that shoe shape should now appear on my ScanNCut canvas mat. And there it is. And if you look down here at the bottom, you can see it's basically just under an inch. So I'm just going to drag it out a little bit more so you can see it better. Now, while it's selected, you don't have to do this, but I would advise you to do it because it will save you troubles when we come to weld this. So while it's selected, I'm going to come to the properties box and I'm going to fill it with a colour. I'm just going to choose black. And instantly you can see that the definition of the shoe has disappeared. If I take the colour out again, you can see these sections here which would be cut out. Now if I cut this in a piece of card, it would cut, and those little cut out sections would cut out, and that would give you the definition of your shoe. But if you then come to want to weld this, which I'm going to show you how to do in a minute, those sections will disappear and you'll basically just have this outline shape. So to double check, if you always fill it with a colour and you see that you lose the definition, what you need to do is go to Edit, Subtract. That will punch out those cut out sections from this outline shape, and this is now how it will cut. So if you cut this in a piece of black card and laid it on top of a piece of white card, this is exactly what you'd see. You'd see the shape of the shoe with these whole sections cut out, which are like your definition of your shoe. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to create the basic shape of my card that I'm going to weld this shoe to. So I'm going to look to see if we've got, oh yeah, there you go, we've got one we can pre-use. So this is about, well, it's 3.94 high and 3.94 wide. If we didn't have this shape, we could just use two of these and, you know, weld them together. So this is the basic shape of the card and this is the shoe. I'm going to drag this out a bit more so it kind of overlaps a bit. Make it slightly smaller. I think that looks about right. So what I'm going to do now, with this shoe selected, I'm going to come to Edit, Offset, take the spacing all the way down to the left, as small as it will go, and create an outward offset, but I want both the outline and the definition, so this needs to be unticked. So it's usually ticked by default, create an offset line only around the outer edge. I don't want that. I want all the definition as well, so I'm going to untick it. So spacing as far left as it'll go, 0.04, outward, and this is unticked, and say OK. And there is the outward shape. Now I'm just going to come up to the properties and take the fill out to see if we've got the definition, and we have. But when we colour it back in with the colour, it all disappears. So again, if I weld this as it is to this box now, I'll lose all that definition. I'll literally just get this outside edge, and I don't want that. I want all the definition. So while it's selected, I'm going to come to Edit, Subtract, get the definition back, and now place this shoe on top of this shape I've made here. I want the heel to overlap the bottom edge. I'll try and zoom in a bit so you can see. I want to make sure that the heel is overlapping here and that at least a section of this shoe is overlapping this line here. Doesn't matter if this extends beyond. Just going to come back to fit it to the mat so you can see it. Now I'm going to select both of these, not this, just these two, and go to Edit, Weld. And that's now welded that shoe shape to that card for me. Now, just to make it easier, I'm going to take the fill out for this so you can see it easier on screen. While this is selected, I'm going to right click and hit duplicate, and there's my duplicate, and then I'm going to go to edit and flip horizontal, which is this second icon here, and that now mirrors this one if you like. I'm going to select both, go to edit and align them along the bottom edge, because these should be straight edges and they line up now. I'm just going to select one of these, it doesn't matter which one, and without using the mouse I'm just going to use the arrows on my keyboard, and I'm going to use the left directional arrow, and I'm going to scoot this over until I get an overlap in the middle. Once I can see that they both overlapped, I'm going to go to edit and weld, and that's now the base of my card, which I'm going to fill with colour, and you can see that we've got all the definition in this shoe. Now, while this is selected, I'm going to come to edit, offset, and then this time I'm going to choose inward, take the spacing all the way down to 0.4, and again make sure that this is unticked because I want the definition cut out within my inward matting layer, which effectively will be my insert for my card. I like to put paper inserts in my card. I don't like to just write on the card. You don't have to do this step, but I'm just showing you how to do it. And I'm going to say OK. Now the inward is this one that's always selected on top. Again, I seem to have lost the definition. I'm going to change the colour just to make it easier to see when I layer it up. So I'm going to make this green. You can see the definition is there. It would cut, but if you like to work with a fill, then this is the best way to do it. So I filled it with a bright green. I'm going to go to edit, subtract, so I get the definition back. I'm going to layer that up on top of the black layer, so this would be my insert where I could write my greeting, and then I've got my original shoe, which I'm going to change to a completely different colour just so that you can see it on screen. I'm going to right click and make sure this is at the front, and then that would sit on the front of the card. So the green layer would be inside. So imagine that there's a fold line down here, and this half here is all the front of your card. So this is your card that you could cut, say, in white. This is your die cut that you'd put on top and layer up. And because we used an offset of this original to weld to this shape, that offset was obviously slightly bigger, and that's why this sits on the front of your card now and shows a little bit of a border edge, which is what I prefer. If you don't want that, just use this first shape and weld it to your two rectangular shapes. But I like an outline edge around mine. And then the insert would obviously be on the inside of your card. So I'll send that one back one. And that's how you make a shaped card. Now, well, I'm going to select everything, so the green is behind. In fact, I'll send the black back one just so you can see. So I've got the black, the green and the blue. Now I'm going to select everything and right click and group. And now I would resize this from here to cut it from whatever size card you want. While it's all grouped, I can now drag this out and make it so it would cut from either an 8.5 by 11, so you'd have to make it ever so slightly smaller, or as I say, for us we could make ours slightly bigger because what we call A4 paper is a bit bigger than 11 inches. So if you wanted to cut this from a piece of A4 card at the biggest you could make it, what I would do is get your size on your width right, as big as you can. So if we're going for, say, international A4, which is 8.5 by 11, I would make this width just under 11, which is what I've got here, 10.9. But as you can see, it's only just over 5 inches high. That would make a lovely card. But if you wanted to cut it from as big a piece of A4 as you could, then while it's all grouped, just drag it down and make it, you know, say 7 3/4 or something, and that would give you a completely different shaped card. You'd have your fold down the middle and it would be a long card with your shoe shape. Frankly, I prefer it to be more kind of squarish looking when it's folded in half, if that makes sense. So what I would do now is I would ungroup it, and then I'd put the insert down here, and I'd put the shoe separate, and then I would give this the name here and save it and download it, and then you can cut this or whatever elements you want to cut from it from your ScanNCut. As I say, if you don't want to put your insert in it, if you don't mind just writing on the inside of your card, don't bother doing this step. I just think it just gives a bit more of a professional finish, and you know, you can make your insert match the colour of your die cut that you put on the front. You can do anything. And obviously, as we've now got the facility to use this font converter, and we've got the pen tool with the ScanNCut, you could even, I'll just take the fill out of this, you could even write a greeting, happy birthday, on here, assign it as a pen stroke, and have the machine write your greeting on the front as well. The possibilities are endless. Now we've got this font converter, it's absolutely brilliant. So I hope you found that helpful. Please give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and then you'll be notified when I post videos. But you have to have the notifications switched on within your YouTube notifications, which I think is the little bell icon. And as I say, hopefully you liked it, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.